Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about, is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is, because I know how good Schaeffer's oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil. Having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us some support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson, and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.
For generations, fans of IndyCar could only dream of stepping into the cockpit and feeling the rush of going wheel to wheel at over 200 miles per hour. Thanks to the latest in sim racing technology, we can get one step closer. Talented, fearless drivers battle it out in virtual race cars to claim supremacy at some of the world's most demanding tracks. This is the RIL, Schaeffer's IndyCar Series, presented by RaceBurst.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is RIL night here on iRacing. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Godson, and welcome to the race first coverage of Round 8 of the Revolution Indy League's Schaeffer's IndyCar Series Summer 2022 season, coming to you from the Pocono Raceway for the Bitcoin Sim Racing Pocono 200. As always, joining me for expert analysis in the booth, he is the weekend editor at Jalopnik.com and co-host of the Motorsport 101 podcast. Please welcome Ryan Eric King. Ryan, this is a home game for you. This is your home track. Tell us all about it.
Oh man, you gotta love Pocono Raceway. It's like, while people do associate IndyCar with the Midwest, IndyCar is a rich tradition out here in eastern Pennsylvania. From Langhorne to Nazareth to where we are today, Pocono. IndyCar has raced in eastern Pennsylvania for over a century.
Yeah, almost as long of a tradition as being in Indianapolis itself. But this track specifically built for Indy cars. You wouldn't know it since Indy cars don't race here anymore, which we'll talk about tonight a little bit, I'm sure. But we got about a minute left in practice. There you see Gavin Sanders at the top of the charts with a 220.3. My pick for tonight, Shane Coogan. He is the Pocono Whisperer, 220.179. Dan Miglin right behind him with a 221.35. Christopher Hill right behind him with a 219.905. And we got 40 seconds left here before we go qualifying. And only the fastest 33 are going to take the green flag. And we have 35 cars that have taken time and speed in practice. So we're going to see some bumping when we get to qualifying here in just a few seconds.
Now, one of the things that I really like about Pocono, obviously the track has its nickname, the Tricky Triangle, and that's largely down to each of the track's iconic three corners being different in their own special way and being modeled after three of IndyCar's most famous tracks when it was built.
Yep. Turn 1 is Trenton, turn 2 Indianapolis, turn 3 Milwaukee, and if anyone tells you any differently, they are incorrect. I've heard people say, oh, no, turn 3 is Gateway. Okay, look when Gateway was built, look when Pocono was built. That math does not work. So we're getting ready to go qualifying here. 5 minutes, best of 2 laps, watching the boss man, Matt Houston, start to bring his car out onto the circuit. A number of other drivers wasting no time getting out there. Dakota Domain. And so while we're talking about speed and ultimate speed, here are the track records you need to know from Pocono. Your USAC track record, of course, USAC raced here for the longest time. Peter Revson, driving for McLaren in 1973, turned a lap of 468. Then when CART came here, Emerson Fittipaldi held that record, driving for Patrick Ganassi Racing at the time. The one in 1989 with a speed of 211.715, and the current track holder set by Juan Pablo Montoya. And Team Penske, driving for Team Penske in 2014 with a lap of 223.871. I don't think we're going to see any 223 laps unless it's going to get someone helping, a little help from the draft here. But we're going to see some pretty healthy laps near the 220 mark as we start getting some speeds hitting the board for qualifying. Your career IndyCar wins leaders here at Pocono are AJ Foyt, of course, leads with 4. Rick Mears and Will Power are tied with second with 3 wins here. He didn't think Will Power has 3 wins, but he does. And those are all 500-mile wins for Will Power. And Danny Sullivan, Alliser Sr., and Bobby Unser each have 2. So virtual who's who of IndyCar racing are among your winners here at Pocono. Penalties for tonight: Nicholas Isidro, will have an EOL carrying over from last week, and Ben Carswell is participating tonight, and he will have an EOL carrying over from week 2 at Barber. But stand by in the garage here. It's almost time to go racing as we get the first couple of times hitting the board. With that, it's time to look at the starting lineup from the Keystone State. But before we do, I got to ask the question. Hey, Ryan, would it surprise you that half of everyone watching tonight's show right now has not subscribed to this channel?
Oh, man. Subscriber count looking lower than, emptier than the stands at Pocono.
Ouch. According to YouTube analytics, 50.9% of you are not subscribers. Let's change that right now. Help us in our drive to 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy Race First coverage of the RIL Schaeffer's IndyCar Series and respect the weekly stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. We have less than 120 subscribers to go to get to the magical 1,000 mark. So you could help us by hitting that subscribe button right now. We cannot, and I said this again, we cannot get there without you. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on more future Race First iRacing broadcasts, which we have a lot of now. So let's get into it here at Pocono with a minute 50 remaining here before we get to tonight's starting lineup. Caleb Benzie provisionally on the pole with a 218.4. Right behind him is Gavin Sanders with a 218.2. There is Dakota at 218.2 in P3. Let's see. Going to get the sort here. And that is Brody Gardner. We have not seen him in a couple of weeks. He is P4 with a 218.2. And Logan Spath has the turbo turned up to high in his car, 218.1. For the one of the Race First associated cars that we don't see at the front a lot. So that's a great lap from him. Also up there, Hill, Wang, Miller, Johnston, and Matt Houston, your top 10. There is Shane Coogan, my pick. Not a great lap, a 218.4 or 218.046. Man, I can't talk today. It's all this excitement. It's back in 17th, so he's got a long way to come. And of course, we know how bad the aero push impacts everything here. Let's take a look at last week's race while they are finishing up qualifying here. Last week, here are your Results from last week, Nicholas Johnston was the winner on the Iowa Oval. Great race. If you missed it, make sure you go back and check it out. And here is the point situation. Nicholas Johnston is your points leader right now with just a less than 30 or so point lead over Bruno Miranda. Caleb Binsey P3, Dakota DeMade P4, Matt Houston P5, Gavin Sanders P6, Seifert, Coogan, Wang, Sidro rounding out the remainder of the top 10. Got battles all up and down the championship. No one's really have anything decided yet, so we still have lots of racing to go here as we're in week 8. And as you see, qualifications are complete. And the two that did not make the field looks like Matthew Johnston and Nagasiya Yoshikawa, excuse me. I've seen him a number of times in the PM18 series that we've covered here on Race First. Fortunately, he didn't make it. 34th and 35th will not be lining up tonight. So let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup from Pocono. On the pole, Caleb Binsey with a 41.2. Not too far right behind him, Gavin Sanders with a 41.2 as well. P3, Dakota DeMade. P4, Brody Garner. P5, Logan Spath with a great start from as mentioned. And Christopher Hill in 6th. JJ Wang 7th, Justin Miller, watch him tonight, P8, Nicholas Johnson, your points leader, P9, Matt Houston, P10, Bruno Miranda, he's in the point championship as well, watch him, P11, Aaron Moss in 12th. Nate Seifert got a long way to go from 13th, Joshua Tucker in 14th, Dan Miglin was fast in practice, while is slotting in at 15th. Brock Whiteman, new driver this week, 16th. Shane Coogan, my pick, coming back from 17th. Matt Cosgrove, 18th. Isidro, 19th. He will be getting an EOL. Christian Jasper, 20th. Tommy Cook, 21st. Drew White, the Oval Master. You'll be seeing him slice through the traffic from 22nd. Christopher Kresge, 23rd. Matthew Short, 24th. Neil Lusher, 25th. Lucas Santos, 26th. Ben Collerswell, 27th, but he will have an EOL. 28th, DL Lemon in the Bitcoin Sim Racing Delara. Trey Mitz in his first start in the league, 29th. And Jonathan Libertor in 30th. Michael DeTurk, 31st. Peter Donchek, 32nd. And Lewis Woodall sneaks in on 33rd. The Brit with a time of 41.4, bringing up the 33rd fastest time. Johnston and Yoshikawa get the DNFs. Whew. Almost like the old days around here where we're going to get 33 starters.
Yeah, it's a big field, and the one thing I always worry about with starts at Pocono is the run to turn one itself. Just the length and width of the main straight means that you see people toe up to the front, get good runs, and everyone bunches up and spreads out wide.
Well, we are watching them come down the, I guess you would have called it the short chute between turns 2 and 3 as they're making that turn onto the main straight, the longest, when it is on the schedule, the longest straightaway in all of IndyCar racing. It's the widest straightaway too. You'll see here, you can go as many as 5 wide as you want, but you got to get it down to about 2 wide when you get down to turn 1, getting ready to go racing here at Pocono. Green flag in the air. Caleb Binsey wasting no time to the lead. We got Sanders in second. Brody Gardner looking on the high side of DeMade in third. DeMade probably will slot in as we come to the tunnel turn. Here's Justin Miller getting ready to take a look at the inside of Christopher Hill. Everyone taking their time.
Car on the wall.
Car on the wall. Who do we got? Caution on the racetrack. And we did not see that one happen.
like JJ Wang pushed up high and went into the wall in the exit of turn 2.
All right, so we'll get on board JJ's car. There he is, right there. And yes, that is as quickly as days can end here at Pocono. As soon as you get this huge arrow push with these cars, and there's a whole host of cars, including your points leader. And let's try to get a better view here from the Race First One airship.
Now,
there's a green car right there. He is coming in to the turn. Right behind him is your points leader, and he just washes up. Oh, and Miglin is what he just runs over Johnston there. So Miglin, Johnston, and JJ involved in this, and I don't think it was they were related, but it was not a related wreck. JJ hit by himself. And then it looks like Johnston checked up, and then Miglin ran into Johnston.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that in iRacing and in real life is a big design issue with Pocono. That turn 1, by all accounts, is a 1-lane corner. And normally, at the start of runs, you're not heading in there by yourself. And, you know, that's down to a lot of factors: the radius of the corner, the fact that there is a lot of aero wash pushing you up, and the fact that it is named Tunnel Turn for a reason. That the access tunnel to get in and out of the infield goes under turn 2. And there is a noticeable bump or crest in turn 2 that will kind of make the car feel, you know, a bit light, because you're literally going over a crest.
Yep. It used to be kind of a huge boilerplate hit there back before they really smoothed this place out. IndyCar stopped really coming here up until about '89 because they said it was really too rough for the cars at the time, and they really needed to put some investment back in the surface. Eventually, when they did, IndyCar returned, but then safety of another matter started coming into it as some pretty bad wrecks were occurring here. But frankly, I don't really chalk that up to the track itself. I'm just chalking that up to a lot of aggressive drivers and some other drivers. Just a bad set of circumstances. You know, well, you know, a couple of those wrecks, you know, Sato one, you know, you could probably blame him for definitely one of them. I think he was blamed for one of them. The wreck that got Wickens, that was just hard racing, and unfortunately got the car up into the catch fence. And they could change the catch fence to prevent that from happening again in the future. But Justin Wilson, unfortunately, his death here, that was not, and I say this again, not the fault of the track. If anyone says the reason we're not going back to Pocono is because of Justin Wilson, that is not correct. Justin Wilson, unfortunately, there could have been a drive shaft from or a nose cone that fell off another car at any other track. It could have impacted any other driver in a day when they had the open cockpits, and that would have been the same result probably. But it was not the fault of Pocono.
Like, obviously, a similar incident comes to mind when I think Wilson's is what happened to Felipe Massa at the Hungaro race.
Yeah.
Where it could literally happen anywhere. But I think, like we saw at the start here, that one of the things that I've come to grips with Pocono racing here, that this track punishes aggression, where you have to know when to let someone go, especially through turn 2, because like going side by side through turn 2 is a risk, because if you're not on that low line, there's a strong chance that you could push up into that wall.
Yeah, exactly. So right now under caution. Let's take a look at those that did hit pit road. Peter Donchak currently showing on pit road with an extended stop. So we had some other issues from the rear. Trey Mitz, Dan Miglin, Lucas Santos, Brock Whiteman, showing all of them currently out of the race now. Peter Donchek currently on pit road with an extended stop. Neil Lusher on pit road with an extended stop. Nicholas Johnston is showing as withdrawn, as well as JJ Wang. So this is going to be pivotal. Excuse me, if I can say it right, for the RIL championship here, for the Schaeffer's IndyCar Series, because your points leader is effectively done. Jonathan Liberatore currently showing on pit road with an extended stop. Now, a couple cars came in. DL Lemon came in. Looks like he just came in for a splash to top off. He's back in 24th. Christopher Kresge in 22nd. Aaron Moss in 23rd. They got work done. They are about 4 laps down. Actually, they're on the lead lap, and it's a long pace lap around here, and they were able to get all their work done. So here we go, getting ready to go green, and let's see if we can get some more, few more laps under our belt here at Pocono. Green flag in the air.
Yeah, but immediately going to the inside wall, just doing what you can, break the toe.
There must have been more cars impacted in that wreck that we saw on the replay, unfortunately. Here comes Brody Gardner, and he is going to fortunately stall out as Gavin Sanders really had the fastest line. Gavin Sanders picks up the lead. Now it's side by side, Bency and Gardner in the 3. Oh, look at that run that Bency gets off the high side in turn 3. The high side is a very active side here you're going to see at Pocono, especially down in turns. Actually, right here, we're going to watch them go into turn 1 as they dive down. High side in turn 1 is very fast.
Yeah, in 1, it's very fast. You keep your momentum up, especially that run down the 2. Where you get a good run, get on the inside, get the preferred line for the tunnel turn, and make your way through. Taking the high line in 3, it's not the fastest way around 3, but it really helps you out if you're right behind someone and you want to, get a good run down the absurdly long front straight.
And watch Caleb as he is trying to run down Gavin. Cars going 3 wide in the back there. We saw Matt Houston trying to pass for position here with Logan Spath. He is going to pull it off on the exit of 1. Pulls right up, right behind Spath now is Nate Schaeffer. Shane Coogan has worked his way up 6 spots. Lewis Woodall, let's going to put the camera on him. The Brit started dead last. He's 12 spot up to P12. He has gained 21 spots already, so he has worked his way up through that first lap incident, and he is making that high side work on Shane Coogan right there as he's shooting down the main straight. Going to have a little help from Seifert. Now Seifert gave him room, and he's going to have pull alongside Seifert going to the 1. Logan Spath is going to be right there to help pull him along, and we're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. On the exit, pucker time, and he clears it. Lewis Woodall up to 9th.
And that's where you talk about momentum being really, you keep your momentum if you take the high line through 1, and that really shows it.
Now, admittedly, he says this is one of his favorite tracks, and he is showing how he makes it work. Look at him up in that 3rd lane, up in the 3rd turn there. And he is just pulling away from Logan. Oh, Isidro making a really aggressive move in the back there, on the inside of Cosgrove. They're going through turn 1. Isidro down low on the yellow line. Cosgrove's going to have the slightly faster line on exit, plus the draft of Drew White in front of him. Isidro gets back in line, but Isidro was showing a +3, but he did get the EOL, so he is up much more than that. Right behind him, Christian Jasper.
Meanwhile, up front, Bency's closing in on Gavin Sanders yet again.
And Bency pulling out for a shot of the lead here in 1. And, yep.
Textbook move.
Yep, just let him go.
Yeah, I think we're reaching that point in the run where I wouldn't say you're starting to think about fuel, but you're trying to get in that rhythm, realize what your fuel mileage is looking like, and thinking about, how long can I take this? When should I, consider pitting?
Well, yeah, and they're about a third of the way through of a stint right here. That's about 30 laps, just about the same as Indianapolis. A little bit more, to be honest, because the speeds aren't quite as high as they are here at Indianapolis. We do have a bit of a three-car breakaway between the race first teammates here, Bincy, Sanders, and DeMade, and I'm wondering if possibly. After this latest update that we've heard that the aero has been improved a little bit on the IR-18, is that we now hear that the first three cars can pretty well stick together, but the fourth car has a hard time. I'm wondering if that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, also considering that the next group of cars is also a three-car group. One of the things that you tend to see on the super speedways, because we saw it during the race at Auto Club, that is a bit strange to say that happens in motorsport, but it's far more common in road cycling races like the Tour de France, where you get a breakaway of riders, and you consume more fuel at the front, braking the air, and normally when you get into a small group, you share the load, you each spend time at the front, but maybe there's a third or fourth person that sits back, conserves energy, or in this case, conserving fuel, just using the tow of the people in front actually burning the fuel, and you eke out a bit more fuel, a couple more laps, and get an advantage over them.
I think Dakota might have had a bad turn on either exit of 1 or 3. He is now threatening to fall a second behind Bincy as he is no longer with this group of 2 up front, and actually starting to creep back into Gardner's scope a little bit. But he was right there before, and he is not right now. I don't know if he's trying to conserve. Well, now he's 1.3 behind, so he's threatening to lose the draft right now. So not quite sure exactly what's going on. Or he might, maybe there's team orders. Maybe he's been told to go back and run with those group of 4 and keep them under check. But he is falling behind now really, really fast.
Yeah, I'm scrubbing through the replays to see if I could see anything unusual, but there's no point where he really, hits the wall since the last restart.
Yeah, it's just one little lift. That's all it takes, and then especially when you have another car that has the aid of a draft of another, it's just pulling away. Here comes Justin Miller to the inside here. Bruno Miranda.
Can't make it stick though.
Nope, that low side stops working after a while. Yeah. Here's Miranda on the high side of Garner. He's going to take a peek here in 2.
Slot in. Oh. Wow, around the outside.
Yeah, that outside line is a lot quicker as these tires wear off. That inside line is not as quick as you really hoped it would be very early on when the tires are fresh. Let's go a little bit back in the pack. Take a look at Lewis Woodall here on the inside of Christopher Hill for P8. Not see right there. That's where the high line works again. And plus Hill has the draft help from his kind of teammate, his teammate in the FIS, the Race First Formula Indy Series, helped to pull him out of that predicament a little bit. So Lewis Woodall is going to have to run downhill one more time. Fortunately, Drew White looks like something happened to him, showing him out at the moment. So we started this thing with 33, and after 18 laps, we got 23 left on the track. So attrition is high here at Pocono.
Yeah, very, very high. I wouldn't be surprised if a large percentage of that's from the Turn 1 incident. But it's very easy, especially the way the sim's set up, to have a race-ending incident, and just the yellow just doesn't come out because you're just by yourself.
Lewis Woodall getting back within draft range here. Christopher Hill on the outside in turn 3. Hill going to the pits.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened. This could be a scheduled stop.
It is scheduled. On the run to 3, he did call that he was going to pit in.
Okay, so he is going to probably make... And here's another car. Not sure what happened. Ooh, what happened back there? That is DeTurk. It looks like Tommy Cook might have had impact with the turn 3 wall, and is now looks like he is on pit road. But Christopher Hill, looks like he's going to make this try to happen in one more stop. If you go at lap 20, and then you go another 30, and then you go another 30, that takes you right to 80. So he might be trying to make this in one more stop. So Christopher Hill on pit road for a long time, and if he doesn't have damage, he has a speeding penalty now. And that's the shame.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Meanwhile, back on the racetrack, Bency, your leader by a 10th over Sanders. 2.2 over DeMade. Miranda up to P4. Gardner back to P5. Miller now P6. For P7. Houston the P8. Woodall P9th. And Coogan in 10th. I'm not sure what happened to Christopher Hill there, though. He's on an extended pit road, so extended pit road stay, so he must have had some damage or something.
I'm trying to see what happened to him before he called out that he was coming in.
So now 21 cars on the lead lap. Your last car on the lead lap here is Michael DeTurk. Attrition is really high. Of course, for Caleb tonight, and also Matt Houston tonight after this. It's not done for them over on in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. They'll be doing their version of the Iowa race in the IndyCars. Side by side. There's Gavin and Bency in the 2 to get it sorted out before they go through their side by side into the tunnel turn. In the turn 3, and that is looks like that is DeTurk in front of them. So DeTurk currently is struggling on the race course at the moment.
Okay, and for Christopher Hill, it was damage. On lap 16, he brushed the exit at turn 2. Looked like a pretty significant impact.
Okay, so that's probably not a speeding penalty then. Well, Bruno Miranda has caught up to Dakota DeMade, and I got to be honest with you here. I know Bruno wants to pass, and he's going to take a look here. Well, I was thinking that Miranda might just stay put and try to get some fuel mileage, but he's not going to do it. He's just, you know what, I'm going to go around you and set sail to the next guy. Miranda up 8 spots.
Yeah, when you're fast, and sometimes you just want to lead.
And he's already pulled away by about 7/10 of a second. So now Dakota's looking at Justin Miller next, as Justin Miller is trying to reel him in. Nate Seifert up to P6. Brody Gardner back to P7 as these tires continue to wear off. There is Matt Houston, and right with him is Lewis Woodall. Shane Coogan worked his way up 7 spots up to P10. Just a car behind, and there you see him closing in on Logan Spath is Isidro. Isidro, of course, at the EOL, officially he's worked his way up 7, but he's worked his way up much more beyond that. Again, this is his MO. He qualifies pretty deep into the field for whatever reason. Not everyone's a good qualifier. I understand that. But, there is a difference between being a good qualifier and a great racer. And when you're a great racer, it's qualifying is just a starting spot. You still have a long way to go. 80 laps here at Pocono and 25 in the books. And Isidro has worked his way up to P12. Again, trying to make that high side work on turn 3. Lewis Woodall on pit road. See if this is a scheduled stop. It is. Up on the jacks. Gonna get a new set of tires, full tank of gas. And he is on his way. Extremely long pit road.
Yeah, the wait is always agonizing, waiting to get down to the exit.
Oh, there's a car that came off of, I'm not sure who that was. I'm not sure who that was. That was coming on the pit road. That
Go check that.
They made a huge turn on the pit road. Not sure who it was. Kind of going through the field at the moment.
Yeah, it was Neil Lusher.
Oh, Neil Lusher's on the racetrack. Okay, there he is. Okay, so he's back on the racetrack after possibly getting involved in that turn 2 wreck. He's back in the car. Ooh, here we go. Gavin Sanders getting up close and personal to the turn 3 wall. Staying off it, though, and is going to give Caleb Benzie a shot with him in turn 1 as these two are continue to swap the leads as they pull away now by about 3 seconds over Bruno Miranda. Nicholas Isidro on pit road. Don't forget, watching tonight's race, to give us a thumbs up. We sure would appreciate it. That's one way to help the channel. The best way to help the channel, go ahead, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so we can remind you of the next RIL race. While we have a moment, here is the RIL schedule. As we have a week off, and we go to Road Atlanta next, August 10th. So back to the road courses, and then what should be a very entertaining race at Chicagoland. And then we will go to the new road course at Indianapolis, and we will wrap the season up on the oval a week later. So the season quickly coming to a close here.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting stretch of races to end the season. I'm particularly looking forward to Chicagoland. Always love when IndyCar heads there.
Bruno Miranda on pit road. Getting normal scheduled service. So he will go 30-30 and then a 20-lap run. He has one more to go. So it's only a 2-stopper here. The leaders to put a lap on Bruno Miranda, or at least get close to it. Tonight's race brought to you by Bitcoin Simracing. Bitcoin Simracing is an iRacing team that proudly supports Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Follow the team on Twitter at BTC Simracing. BTC Simracing. And you can do that today. Of course, I want to thank the Schaeffer Oil for being a sponsor of the Revolution Indy League's IndyCar Series. Of course, we know racing is in their blood. It's what they love. Oh, heck, you know what we'll do? We'll just let the side-by-side tell the story for us. We'll be right back.
There's two types of drivers out there. Drivers who know how to protect their investment, and drivers who don't. Car owners who know how to get more miles per gallon, and owners who don't. We're talking people who know their Schaeffer and people who don't. Which one are you? From cars to trucks to diesel workhorses, whatever you drive, there's a Schaeffer synthetic oil for you. Do you know your Schaeffer? Ask for it at an automotive retailer near you.
Just in time for the leaders to pit, and both are on pit road at the same time. So definitely teammates working together, scheduling their stops at the same time. This will turn the lead over to Justin Miller. Who has one of the, I think it's Joshua Tucker right with him. Tucker is showing 2 laps down. Just made his pit stop not too long ago, so that's where he slots in. Wonder how many laps here Justin Miller can turn. Of course, Justin does not need to put up a fight there. If Tucker wants to pass him on the high side, probably should just let him go. Yeah. And there goes Miller, going to take a turn to pit road. He will go 33 laps on this stint. So right now, Jasper, Miller, Coogan, Short all on pit road. DL Lemon also on pit road, and the Bitcoin Dallara. Kresge now worked his way up to P6. He's coming on the pit road, gets it locked down. So we'll now turn the lead over to Caleb Binsey and Gavin Sanders as they are side by side down the front straight. And we are right back to kind of where we were right before the pit stops. And it happened right in that 30 to 34 lap window that we were kind of anticipating. So your leader actually still on the racetrack now is Jasper. He comes in, so he actually got a really good run economy-wise. When he crosses the start-finish line, he'll go 35 laps on this run. So keep that in mind. He probably be the lightest car on the racetrack at the end of the race, depending on everyone's fuel loads. And that will turn the lead to Binsey and Sanders as they come by here on the start-finish line. Right in front of them is an injured, we got a little bit of a weave on the front straight. And Nate Seifgert's worked his way up to third. Bruno Miranda is now right behind Seifgert, and Dakota DeMade's trying to keep pace. But it looks like Dakota is continuing to struggle in traffic. And look at this, I mean, we're still, 50 laps, 45 laps from the end, and Nate's defending against Bruno like it's the last one.
Yeah, this is, like I said earlier, this is a track where it doesn't really reward aggression. Like, yes, it's hard to overtake here, but you shouldn't make it overly difficult.
That pink car just in the behind there, Dakota, that's Justin Miller. He's P6. Brody Gardner started up front. Oh, we got to pass for a position here between Gardner and Woodall. Woodall down low, clears Woodall up to 7th. Oh, and into the wall, and into the inside wall. And he is done. And we might get a yellow on the race course here. Is we going to clear? Okay, no yellow, is there?
We are yellow.
We are yellow, so he didn't clear just in time. So, interesting. Unfortunately for Lewis, we caught that on video on stream, but that's going to, this is a good thing for Seifert, Miranda, DeMade, and Miller. That's going to really bring the field up together here. Still too early to pit to go, no, it's still too early to pit. Yeah, for these guys. I was just trying to do the math. I was thinking to myself, if I do the math, it's like, who can make it? And I don't know if anyone can make it right now.
Like, even if you took the extreme option of waiting for the car lap to pit, there's no way you could save enough fuel to make it to the end.
Now, if I was back, say, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, right there, the last couple cars on the lead lap, I would go ahead and get fresh tires and top off the tank, because you might catch a break when the leaders in front of you all pit, and you could stay out when a caution comes out. and that you might catch a break. It's a long lap around here, even under a green flag run, to put them a lap down. But you never know what type of break you can catch.
Because we are in that window where if you do pit on the lap where the lap cars are scheduled to pit, and there's one caution, you would be able to make it.
Well, pump fake there by Caleb. He said no, not gonna. Gavin's gonna stay out. So it looks like DL, yep, right where I figured it would be. DL11, Christopher Kresge, Michael DeTurk, right back there in the 16th, 17th, 18th position. Those three going to come in, top off, get new tires. So at this point, you have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain by getting a fresh set of tires and topping off the tank at this point. They're looking to pit probably at lap 68, so they're going to come up short. But it's going to be about 30 laps from now, give or take.
Yeah.
Maybe even lap 70, but
and you're you know, again, in the same boat as everyone else. You and everyone around you is going to have to pit again regardless.
And also looking at those that pitted, Nicholas Isidro, he is now in 9th. He is 10 laps of his current run, so he is almost to a half tank at the moment. He has the most worn tires on anybody on the lead lap at the moment. So he is probably looking to pit here in the next 20 laps or so. He might be pitting with about 10 laps to go or so, I think. Give or take. Let's take a look at your top 10. There's Caleb Bency, your leader. Gavin Sanders, P2. They've been trading it back all day long. Nate Seifert has worked his way up 10 spots from starting in 13th to P3. Bruno Miranda in P4. P5 right there. He has a lap car in between him, unfortunately. That is Dakota DeMade. I think he's been struggling with dirty air today for whatever reason. But he is hanging on to the tail end of the top 5. Justin Miller, another, I would say, very typical and strong run for him on an oval. He is in P6 there. Brody Gardner, P7. Matt Houston has worked his way up 2 spots from where he started. He is out up to 8th. Isidro up 10, but again, the EOL, so he has worked his way up a lot more than 10. And Logan Spath started 5th, fallen back to 10th, but since then, he's kind of maintained his A presence in the top 10 at the 8th, 9th, and 10th spot for much of that run. The guy that I continue to watch right here, Shane Coogan, he has not had any luck. He's just had a lot of traffic in front of him that's caused him to lose a draft to the leaders. This is your Pocono Whisperer, but right now he is stuck in the mid-pack in P12. Currently, we show 18 cars on the lead lap. Let's see, 9, 20, 21, 22 cars currently still running. Those running not on the pace is Neil Lusher right there. Show Tommy Cook, who had an incident a little bit earlier on. Christopher Hill, who we heard that he hit some about lap 16 or so, hit the wall. Josh Tucker right there, looks like he's giving kind of way to the leaders there as he's dipping to the inside. Last car on the lead lap is Michael DeTurk. Of course, Kresge, Lemon, and DeTurk all stopped on that last caution, so they are good to go for another 30 laps or so. But in the meantime, we're going to go green here at lap 40, 20 to go here at Pocono. Caleb Bency's your leader. Down the one as a drag race down this long straight. There is the snake.
Well, the group of cars behind the first 3 are starting to pack up. Well, we've got to move for the lead.
Yep, here's Gavin Sanders at the inside in the tunnel turn. Clears Bency. Now, Bency, last couple of laps when they've been swapping this lead, they haven't had to deal with anybody in P3. Now they got Nate Seifert back there, and now they got to all deal with Nate. Oh, Dakota down low in turn 3 on Miranda. Doesn't clear him. Gets back in line. Several cars fanning out too wide behind. Justin Miller in P6. It's just sticking right on the rear wing there of Dakota. Not making any moves, just kind of biding his time. Here's the move right now. Dakota, Matt Houston. Oh, Matt tried to pull it off on Isidro, could not get it. It's going to drop him probably into the clutches of Logan Spath down the front straight. Now Houston has the 8 of the draft in front of him to help pull him along, and I don't think Spath is going to be able to pick that off. But Dakota getting the pass completed on, almost on Bruno.
I should note we have a new leader.
We do have a new leader. Yes, Nate Seifert was the leader, and not anymore. As that moves to Caleb Bency. Gavin Sanders tried to follow him on through. Three different lines through turn 3. Oh, crossover by Gavin. As you see the teammates working together. He pulls down low to help pull Gavin along. Seifert gonna send it. Gonna send it. He's like, oh! You gotta hear him feathering the throttle. Seifert down low into the tunnel turn, and he clears. Gavin, not going to take a look there. And Nate Seifert is your leader, up 12 spots. So who says it's hard to pass here at Pocono? But that caution certainly helped him. Side by side through turn 1. On the high side is Bency. Bency clears him. There they go through the short chute between turns 2 and 3. Oh, and Gavin is, look, we were just watching Gavin right here in this camera shot, and he really got impacted by the aero wash there, and he is now, he's actually in a position where he might begin losing this draft here if he cannot make up that space.
Yeah, it seems to me that, with this new update, once you push your tires past a certain point in terms of temperature, like it really affects your car when you're in the wash.
Through the tunnel turn, you see the tunnel there in the background. Seifert gets right up there, right under the rear wing there of of Caleb. Gavin's reeling him in a little bit. Seifert takes a look to the inside. So it kind of funnels down the 3 lanes, and turn 1 here. Caleb not letting him get away. Gavin back into the fight, it looks like. Yep, he's right back up there. Oh, and he almost had a run on him in turn 2 there. Yeah, Gavin is losing off of 3. That's where we're losing.
Yeah, because that tends to be one of the first places where you feel it in the wash with used tires, where the car really wants to fight you on exit, and it's sort of a point where you have to really commit early to accelerate out of, and you sort of have to guess and use a bit of intuition to know when to get on the gas and to know how far your car is going to feed out towards the wall.
Back to the back portion of the top 10. Matt Houston and Nicholas Isidro. Logan Spath is all a battle here for 8th. Matt's had a couple looks at Isidro. Isidro's had a couple looks at Garner for 7th. Actually, this is actually becoming a 5-car battle going back to 11th. Isidro on the outside of Brody Garner, and he's going to clear big time. And Garner's going to wash up on the exit at 1 there, and that's going to allow Matt Houston there to get a I can't even say it fast enough because it's happening so quickly. Matt is going to get a pull of the draft there, pulls right alongside and gets the position in the tunnel turn. And in a period of 2 turns, Garner loses 2 spots. Well, Garner's going to fight back on the outside in 3, and he gets it back. Good battle right here between DeMade for 4th, Bruno Miranda for 5th, Justin Miller for 6th. Watching Justin Miller in that pink colored car there. Gavin Sanders now worked his way back up to the leaders, and he is on the gearbox. Caleb Vinci gonna take a look down low. Is he gonna be able to pull this off with worn tires? I don't think he is. And interesting how Seifert just kind of weaves down there, almost like he was helping out Sanders a little bit. Maybe managing the draft like you see in Cup racing. Seifert continues the lead. And he's starting to put a little space between himself and Caleb.
And for those who think about a final stop, we're in the window where if you do stop now, you will make it to the end.
Yeah, that window has just opened up. Taking a look at Shane Coogan back in 14th. Unfortunately, just got passed by DL Lemon. Maybe I jinxed him. Maybe I jinxed him. He was so dominant here in other leagues we've been in. We've seen him race here in Vor, and he's so dominant here in Vor. Won or almost won. I can't recall. I think he won maybe I know he finished on at least the podium. I'll give him all the credit I can here without being wrong about it. Finished on the podium in the Lionheart Speedway Series here, I was just kind of disappointed to. Maybe I don't want to say disappointed. I think I jinxed him. That's just my fault. Sorry, Shane. It's my fault. All my fault.
Now, I should note that the boss man, Matt Houston, he's taking the DeGroot strat and pitting.
Yes, and that is a very sound strategy. We'll take a look at the boss man there as he's back out now. He's right there with the leaders, and actually he might help Dakota here. This might be a big help to Dakota, really, as Dakota passes him. Okay, all right. But that now puts Matt good to go to the end. And maybe he fuel saves a little bit behind Dakota, but this will make him good to go to the end. So he does not need to pit anymore. Also hitting that DeGroot strat, Christopher Kresge as well. He is, even though he is 5 laps down, he is went ahead to take a pit stop there. And he is, Matt washes up in front of Dakota. I'm sure he didn't want to see that.
Yeah, it's like, especially if you're in Matt's situation where you're just off the lead lap. Ideally, you want to see this race go green to the end to let all the strategies play out and you to use the advantage of stopping early and to get a bit of an overcome.
And here's Dakota DeMaid. He is thinking the same way. In fact, he might have been talking to Matt there, and he says, go ahead, do it, try it, see what happens. So
Miranda's in behind him.
And Miranda's no fool as well, so they're going to top off, get it done here before the tires really fall off. They're halfway through their stints.
Yeah, because that would be the advantage of choosing not to pit early and staying out, is then you'll have fresher tires at the end if you pit later.
And plus, these two are going to have two to work with in order to be able to catch any of the other cars on the track, being that a two-car train is a lot faster than a single-car effort.
Definitely.
Well, if you're just joining us, this is Race First coverage of the RIL Schaeffer's IndyCar Series, coming to you from Pocono Raceway, where we have completed 56 laps of a scheduled 80. If you're enjoying the Race First coverage of tonight's race, make sure you support the channel by liking tonight's broadcast, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on the next RIL event, which is about 2 weeks when we go to Road Atlanta.
Really looks like this fight for the lead is going to go all the way down to the wire.
Yep, we're going back up to the lead here. As the overlay will want to work with me here. Everyone's thinking that I'm just giving Dakota extra screen time, and I'm not. There we go. We're right back up to the front there. And Justin Miller is going to get a benefit of this as well, with Matt sitting there, right there. Justin Miller well within drafting range. Caleb back to the lead. Gavin Sanders just kind of watching there at the moment. Gavin Sanders full sends on the outside and turn 3, pulls it off, and he is right back up with his teammate in P2. I'm not sure if Seifert was expecting that or not. Oh, and here is Justin Miller. He's getting the run on Matt Houston. This is not for position, but this is definitely helping him run those top 4 down. I think Brody Garner also made a pit stop. And Nate Seifert is turning down pit road. So this is the final stop for Seifert. This will get him home.
Yeah, pitting from here. It's easy math. You got just even 20 to go.
He hits his, and Isidro's with him. And we'll
leaders pulling the trigger.
Oh, and both the leaders kind of lock it up, coming to, and here comes, I believe that is Logan Spath coming on the pit road. So the two leaders now side by side coming down pit road right here. Each one that did not distract them from hitting their spots. Spath coming in, hitting his spots, slides a little bit, but still makes it in. Down and away.
Justin Miller.
And
Justin Miller calling to come in.
And these two are going to race off pit road. Oh! Did you see how close that was? Wow. And here is Nate Schaeffer. They're 3 abreast going into the tunnel turn, folks. Now they line it up a little bit. Schaeffer is your leader, but the Race First duo have much fresher tires now, and they're probably a little bit lighter. And Gavin Sanders on the low side, pulling off the pass. The car that's pretty much struggled over the last 30 laps or so. Here come the outside. Here comes Schaeffer. The car has kind of struggled over the last 30 laps or so, being that third car in line. Gets the lap led. They're side by side through turn 1. Still side by side going down the Long Pond Straight.
It's gonna have to yield.
Side by side, who's gonna flinch into the tunnel turn? Still side by side going into turn 3. This is Pocono Racing right here. The low side right now with the new tires is still the faster way to go, but it looks like Schaeffer's got to run. He's got to peeked into the inside now. He's got to run down the front stretch.
I think he's gonna have the momentum to get clear.
But careful of the high side. We know that high side is fast. That's later in the run. Gavin does not let him get too far away, and he's going to take a look to the inside. Now we're going to go side by side once again into the tunnel turn. And I don't want to ignore any other efforts going on the racetrack, but Matthew Short is your current leader, but he is going to have to pit. DL Lemon, the car right behind him in P2. We also, those guys, at least Lemon pit early on a late pit, really, lasted, so he's going to have some carryover. Shane Coogan worked his way up to 3rd, but he is still going to have to pit, and DeTurk has worked his way up to 4th, and he's going to have to pit at some time now, unless these guys have saved massive amount of fuel, which maybe it's possible back there, not sure. Nate Seifert now in a battle has been joined by Caleb Bency once again. Bency sends it down low into turn 3. And he is going to clear, but he's not going to be able to pull off the pass. But Gavin is going to help him with the pull and completes the pass. And that is what teammates do.
Yeah, that is definitely a teammate move. I'd say, unlike in Formula 1, turn 3 in Pocono, you could definitely put a wheel or two on that inside curb and be okay.
Yeah, especially this version of Pocono, you can sneak a wheel down to that turn 3 curb, and that's going to help your car rotate. In the older version of Pocono, it's probably going to make your back end rotate, and you'll end up backing into the turn 3 wall.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so now we got Shane Coogan on pit road. So Matthew Short is still your leader. And while this is very impressive that he's there he is on pit road, as I say, I don't think he can make it. And now it turns it over to DL Lemon in the Bitcoin Delara. Of course, we are sponsored by Bitcoin tonight. Bitcoin Simracing is an iRacing team that proudly supports Bitcoin. It's a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Everyone knows it. To learn more about them and the team, follow the team on Twitter at BTC Simracing. BTC Simracing. .com. Jeez, scary. BTC Simracing. That is at BTC Simracing is their profile there. You can do that today on Twitter. So he is your leader. But he is more than likely going to have to pit unless all those GPUs that are mining out there have somehow decided to mine him some fuel that can get him a couple of extra laps here.
Meanwhile, our leading trio of Sanders, Bency, and Schaeffer, like they are plowing up the order. Like as everyone comes in and pits, they have a considerable margin to the next car behind them.
And here comes Isidro. Isidro's not out of the picture yet either. He is right there. Get the ticker here to show you everybody's intervals around. Isidro's 1.2 back from Schaeffer, so he is within drafting range, and he is using that high line, and he might just pull Justin Miller right along with him. DL Lemon on pit road. So DL Lemon got within 11 laps of finishing this thing. That turns the lead over to DeTurk. DeTurk admittedly has not been on the same pace as everyone else, so he might be getting slightly different fuel mileage. Last time by, he did a 42.2, while Sanders, is your leader, did a 41.5. DeTurk down low on turn 3. Now he's making his turn on the pit road, so he is making his final stop. So all of the pit road services are going to be either in process of being performed now or done, and we are getting ready to see your leaders right now. Gavin Sanders starting to slowly pull away, but he's not out of this yet. Seifert up to P2. Seifert to P3. Binsey moved up to P2. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, exciting racing here at Pocono. Seifert taking a look to the inside, not close enough. Gonna take a high line around the tunnel turn. Going to keep the momentum up. Is he going to take a look here in 3? And not quite able to, and he's suffering the third car wash now. Here's Isidro and Justin Miller. This is for 4th. Isidro way up high, and I think he had the roll out of it. Unfortunately, and he's lucky he has Justin Miller still in front of him that he could probably get a little bit of the draft on, but he had the roll way out of it up high in turn 1.
Yeah, that could be a situation when you take the high line in 1 where you go late corner and the car starts, unexpectedly pushing up the track and you have little to no room to work with.
And he's had a hell of a race, Isidro has. So at this point, I know with about less than 10 laps to go that you want to maintain your position in that top 5 and everything. But all things considered, starting with an EOL and working your way up to P5. And even if he started where he qualified, he's up 14 spots. He's probably up more along the neighborhoods of 24 spots or more. Probably closer to 30 spots if he started the EOL, of course. You might want to think about preserving. Of course, he's also, I believe, in the top 10 in points. Preserving your position and your life a little bit by maybe just discretion is a better part of valor, and just maybe finish off with the top 5 to get maximum points, because he's had a heck of a day as it is. So I would hate at this point with less than 10 to go for him to do something that would impact that.
Yeah, especially considering that passing isn't the easiest here at Pocono, and a lot of people would say what Isidro has done is virtually impossible.
Well, the purple 80 of Justin Miller is now within 4/10 of Schaeffer.
Yeah, but seeming like our top 5 is evenly distributing themselves over a decent piece of the racetrack.
Yeah, unless there's a late caution, I don't see Seifert getting back in the battle with Binsey and Sanders. Now, Binsey and Sanders could start racing each other, which I don't see them doing insofar until like the last lap or so, because they're teammates and they're probably communicating with each other. But I don't see these two doing anything to allow Seifert to get any closer, because, well, and I say that, here comes Caleb Binsey to the inside. I would not want, I tell you what, I would want as much room between myself and Seifert as possible.
As long as you keep the passes clean and you keep, slingshotting off each other, you'll be able to keep third place away.
course, Gavin, not last weekend, 2 weeks ago, swept a GT4 doubleheader in Toronto on the Toronto road course. This is IndyCar weekend up in Toronto for real life, and he won a GT4 doubleheader up there as a support race to the IndyCar series. And he did that with a car designed by Dakota DeMaid with the livery. So it's you probably Google it a little bit and find some information on it. Oh, here comes Schaeffer. He's on the back end of Benzie now, so he is now back into the picture. I was wrong, but I think that race might be on YouTube here in a couple of weeks, where you'll be able to check out Gavin winning a double header in a GT4 race up in Canada. Of course, his home that's his home country. He's from the Toronto area, so home race during IndyCar weekend. So nice to win a double header road street race with all the IndyCar teams watching you.
Yep. And it seems like that brief scrap
might
Nate
be over.
And Caleb might allow him to just drive away, well, at least hold it off for a couple laps.
I think he was at Watkins Glen this weekend, and I think they won one of the two races there for GT4 America. Oh, here comes Caleb at the inside. Nate way up high in turn 3, trying to get that momentum. Gavin at the inside, getting the position back. Going to the short chute between 3 and 4. Seifert still there, going up high into that third lane right up there against the wall. And he's going to get a run on Caleb. Pulls it off down the 4th gear into the... Yeah, he was going to push up, so that's what he had to do, is go to 4th gear to keep the revs up, and then all Caleb did is keep his foot in it. Again, passing low, especially when your tires are worn, is not going to try taking a look there in the tunnel turn. There you see here, giving you a good idea. Gonna go on the outside of Caleb. Whoa, almost shut the door on him. Look how close it was there. And now we are on the white flag lap here at Pocono. Gavin is the leader. He's doing the snake, trying to break the draft. Sneaking into the picture, Justin Miller there in P4. Going through turn 2. Seiffert's going to get a run. Is Schaeffer going to have enough in order to pull it out? You see him visually getting closer. Sanders down low into turns 1 and 3. Down low to turn 3, down the yellow line. Coming down the main straight, going to do the weave, and he's not going to get him. Gavin Sanders, a winner yet again.
Oh man, it was looking a bit close there near the end, but Gavin secured the victory.
Let's take a look at tonight's final standings here. It's the Bitcoin Simracing Pocono 200. Sanders, your winner. Nate Seifert, P2. Caleb Benzie, P3. Justin Miller, great race, P4. Nicholas Isidro, again, we talked about his come-from-behind effort there, and P5. Brody Gardner, we kind of didn't talk about him much after the first stint, but finished as 6th. Dakota made P7th. Bruno Miranda, P8th. Logan Spath, Pretty, like I said, recovered nicely to hang out in that back portion of the top 10 all day. Great effort there in P9. Christian Jasper very quietly snuck into the top 10 with the P10 there. Matthew Short 11th, Matt Houston 12th, DL Lemon 13th, Michael DeTurk 14th, Matt Cosgrove 15th. Back to 16th. My man, I jinxed you. I'm sorry, Shane, but he finished 16th. Christopher Hill 17th, Tommy Cook 18th, Christopher Kresge 19th, Joshua Tucker 20th, Ben Carswell 21st, Lewis Woodall 22nd, Neil Lusher 23rd, Moss, White, Libertor, Miglin, Wang, Mitz, and Johnson rounding out your top 30 there. And the remainder of the field, Whiteman, Santos, Donchak, Johnston, and Yoshikawa. Whiteman, Santos, Donchak were the last three to officially place, or excuse me, the first three to officially place. Johnston and Yoshikawa are DNQs. All right, let's see if everybody's in the interview room that needs to be there. Yep. We'll bring up Caleb here because I know Caleb has to go. Hey, Caleb, congratulations, P3, yet another podium. We'll be quick with you tonight. I know you need to go on and get set up for another race here after this, but it was that late caution kind of brought everybody back into the fold, but for a while there, it was just going to look like it was going to be you and Gavin that was going to decide things on your own.
Yeah, I would have loved for that to happen. Gavin's definitely, again, I've probably said this every week, but definitely one of the people I actually enjoy racing with and trust racing with and stuff, so that was going to plan pretty perfectly, but yeah, the caution definitely kind of gave Nate the chance to join the mix, and it's hard. You can pass, you gotta kind of get lucky with clean air in turn 3, so it's kind of just a game of who can position themselves where to try and get up to second, and then you can make a pass for first. But it was tricky. I think those last couple laps, I just had the right front burned up. I was being pretty aggressive on the tools because I think I was too cautious in the other stints, so tried to be more aggressive, but I think it kind of cost me the right front, which ultimately I think either cost me the win or definitely cost me second.
Well, it looked like early on the low line, if you had good tires, was the way to go, but as the tires began to wear off, the high line was the preferred line. Any close? I mean, it really looks from our point of view, from your effort, besides that last one, it was almost a pedestrian type effort. It was like, okay, it's me and my teammate at the front. We're going to swap the lead. We're going to kind of boringly dominate this first half of the. I mean, was there anything that any strategy changes you made midway, or anything that you started off and you said this is different than what we anticipated, or was it kind of pretty much by the book type Pocono race?
In terms of like me and Gavin pulling away, that was by the book intended, but
yeah.
I think the balance was like an unknown kind of going in. Like it was very, very tight, and it was just kind of a guessing game of how much you could get away with the tools to make it loose. So that was really the only thing that changed from stint to stint, and I think like the first half of that last stint felt great with what I was running. I think I just cooked up both the right front and the right rear a little too much, but so outside of that, there really nothing much changed. But again, I would like to go back and maybe start that stint a little differently in terms of settings. But I mean, overall, it was still a good points day, a good race, but definitely after leading a lot of laps, always.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
Ryan, you got anything?
Say the only question is, from up here in the virtual booth, it seemed like the race developed into, 3-car groupings, across the field. How was it managing, not only racing with Gavin, but also with Nate?
Yeah, it definitely, when you throw a third car in there and you are that third car, it definitely changes the dynamic quite a bit. I hadn't run outside of the top 2 for basically the whole race up to that point, so throwing or being that third car in line is just a whole nother wall of dirty air basically you have to deal with. So definitely got to change the driving style. Got to be a little more like careful which lane you choose and stuff, so not catch too much dirty air. But definitely made things harder. It was really hard to get from third to second. Once you got to second, you could make a move to first. Not easy, but easier. But yeah, being that third car in line definitely hurt tires, hurt positioning, obviously. So like I said, would have been happy if it was just Kevin and I. But yeah, no, it was good racing though.
You know the drill, shout outs, whatnot.
Yeah, obviously thanks to you guys as always. No grandparents, friends, family, always tune in and love watching. So thanks to you and Race First as always. Fawn and Fanny, the pink car. Go to fawnandfanny.com, please, if you haven't. A whole bunch of custom body care, everything you need there. And yeah, again, just happy to get another podium. Obviously, would like a win, but all things considered, pretty happy with that.
Well, congrats on the podium. It's still a good point stay, nevertheless. And I think that's a couple straight races that you've had a podium. So I guess you can't complain too much. But we'll see you here in 2 weeks at Road Atlanta, which is a place that we don't go to very often. So it should be an interesting, different change of pace. But congratulations on the podium, and good luck later tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's move him on now. He did it himself. All right, so let's go to Nate Seifert, bringing him on up.
This is kind of rare.
Hey, Nate, how you doing? It's Gary and Ryan. Sorry, I got you mid-sentence there.
You're really good at that.
You know, you should anticipate it now. Great race for you. Up 13 spots. First things first, I mean, where were you on that turn 2, turn 1 incident? Was any of that close to you? And then the rest of your day, where were you finding your passing opportunities as you worked your way up to the front and eventually the lead?
I think that incident was like literally right behind me, if I remember right. It was, I think I had Miranda, then Houston, then me, and all three of us were in the top lane, which caused all of us to get a ton of dirty air. So we all checked up, and I think JJ or somebody behind me just didn't lift or something. I'm not sure. I need to go back and look at it. But as for that, I don't know what happened. As for the race, though, turn 3 was the place tonight. Just working the top lane really well. I could work it. I could pass in 2. I could pass in 1 also, but 3 seemed to be the best lane to do it in. It really, you could pass going into all 3 corners and run pass on the outside or inside for both ways. So it just mattered on how your run went for the most part. But the top lane in 3, you had to run the wall. The second lane and 2 was really good if you had a car that had aero wash in front of you. And then 1 kind of just depended on where the air was. So.
Yeah, it was looking like early on in the runs, as you guys had good tires, the low lane, certainly through 1, was the way to go. And then as the tires got older, the higher the lane started to move up, and you could get alongside a car going into 1, but you couldn't complete the pass, which we did see you at one point in the race try. And I think we were actually on board when that happened. You went as low as 4th gear to keep the revs up, and then Caleb completed the pass on the high side. And you just kind of tucked back in there, but it seemed like later in the run, the low line wasn't the way to go, but still an awesome effort for you. This is not the easiest place to pass, and considering the size of the field and everything, it could have gone so wrong so many different ways. Believe me, I've been a victim of a race ending on lap 1 and turn 2 before. So any other notable things, close calls, anything you want to point it out before we move on to the next segment?
I mean, it really wasn't difficult to pass, like complete the pass. It was difficult to hold the position. It seemed like, because the dirty, the draft was so effective here. I mean, 4/10 down. If you're 4/10 back on out of 3, you could be side by side if you wanted to in a 1. Same with going into 2. So work in the air had to be effective. That's what Caleb and Dakota did really well there at the end. Teaming up, I guess, which is perfectly fine. They're fully entitled to do that. But dirty air was difficult tonight if you got caught in it.
Gotcha. Ryan?
No, Nate pretty much got everything covered. Like it looked like that from the booth, where it looked like there were squalls of dirty air, if you will. If it was all about getting your car into that clean window when you could.
Yeah, I mean, if you found the clean air, it worked really well for you. The first time I got to really race with Caleb, in Dakota, right after the restart there. Dakota, I think, yeah, it was not Dakota. Gavin, Caleb was leading, Gavin was second, and Gavin thought, you could just run the bottom, and I wouldn't do it, and I just sent it around the outside and made it work. So yeah, clean air is hugely important tonight. If you had clean air, you could make any pass you wanted to. Maybe not quite as effective on the bottom in 1 and 3, but yeah, if you found the clean air, if you were smart with how you plan your runs, you could pass anyone you wanted to. It's just a matter. It was really difficult to keep you behind, though.
Great day for you. Good points day for you as well. You're in the top 10 within the lead here, and of course the leader, points leader, not a good day. So everyone's going to make up some ground on the points leader. So that's good. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to say hi to before we let you go?
Yeah, first off, I want to thank you guys for being in the booth. Hopefully it was a good race to watch back. Definitely we'll do that tonight for sure. Thank all the guys at TWR. It seemed like it was a rough night for quite a bit of us. I don't think anyone had a flawless race per se, except for my end of the team. So I think it just a learning experience for everyone tonight. I think a lot of people got caught up in the lap 1 mess for sure. I want to thank the admin staff here for allowing to have all these guys here together to race with, and then thank, of course, my partners at Midwest Kidney Warriors. Great group of people working, helping people that are needing a kidney transplant. Find the resources, the tools, and tips to help them succeed as best as possible, and improve their chances the best they can. So thank you to them for being on board. And that's pretty much it, I think.
All right, well, congratulations, and in 2 weeks we'll try a little bit something different at Road Atlanta, and we'll see you then.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
See ya. All right, we'll bring up Gavin. Gavin, got you here in the booth, Gary and Ryan. So a couple weeks ago, pretty good weekend in Toronto. Last weekend, pretty good weekend at the Glen, and in the virtual world, a win at Pocono on Wednesday in the RL. It's not too bad, is it?
Can't complain. I can't complain. It's been pretty good right now. I don't know about you guys, but it's going pretty damn good right now.
Well, I got to say, though, that when the restart happened, you kind of fell back there for a while, and I think you were fighting that third car, Dirty Air, and you fought your way back, and you managed to get up to second, and then you continued to fight with Caleb for the lead there. So you really had to claw your way back into this, and you kind of won it going away, but for a while, it didn't look like it was going to go that way with that Dirty Air impacting you, and it looked like it was really impacting you in turn 3.
Yeah, it was definitely the worst in turn 3. I think the main problem was the fact that the setup wasn't really built to run the bottom in turn 3 whatsoever. So even when you did get down there with clean air, you'd need a significant amount of weight jacker to even make it to the bottom flat out. So you'd just be killing your momentum and scrubbing speed, and then the guys behind would get an even bigger run on you from running the top than they would following you at the bottom, obviously, because it just didn't make any sense. Even if you ran the top, you'd get a better run than somebody with clean air on the bottom. So it was pretty difficult, especially that kind of takes a lane away compared to a setup that does hit the bottom in turn 3. Now the leader is going to be running the middle or the top to try and cover everybody else. So the third car kind of gets pretty much taken out of the equation in that sense. So it was definitely a bit of a struggle, and I think I burnt my tires off pretty good, and just trying to maintain the gap, because obviously it strings out pretty quick here.
Yeah.
If you're not careful and you get about 1 or 2 bad runs, next thing you know, you're a second and a half back and it's over, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a battle tonight, and obviously the qualifying position definitely helped in contrast to prior races, but yeah, can't complain at all. It's not too bad, even though I'm going to miss some races upcoming here. It's pretty good to get one.
Well, I think this is your second win here at Pocono
Yes.
in the RIL, so maybe we found the new Pocono whisperer, because I picked I picked Shane publicly, but in my mind I picked you and didn't say anything. So if anyone believes me,
I appreciate it. Yeah. I picked Dakota, so
and I'm sure he's thanking you for that jinx right now too. But
yeah.
Ryan, go ahead if you got anything.
Man, last couple of weeks between here in Schaeffer's and for those of you who know me away from this show, obviously at the start of every show we mentioned that I'm a co-host of Motorsport 101, and my longtime podcast co-host RJ O'Connell, in his day job, he reports for Daily Sports Car and GT World Challenge and GT4 America. So I've seen you out in front, a lot of times the past couple of weeks.
For real and virtual.
Every time you're gonna do your job, or you go on here, I'm just there.
Gavin guy.
This guy, man. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your guys' articles.
Maybe one of these days we'll be well, I won't be calling it, but we'll be watching somebody call you for real on one of these IndyCars. Of course, always putting on a doubleheader sweep in front of IndyCar owners is always a nice thing to do. But next 2 weeks, not next week, but hopefully you're here for it. We're moving to Road Atlanta. I know that you got some real world experience at Road Atlanta, I think. But you also caught very many miles at Road Atlanta here in the R18. Your thoughts as this season kind of winds down with a couple more rounds to go?
Well, I wish I was making it, but unfortunately, I have a commitment for that one.
All right.
If it was bumped up a week, I'd make it, but nothing we can do about that. And I also won't be making the one after. I probably won't be making the one after that at Chicago. So, sadly, that kind of takes me out of contention a little bit. But overall, it's been solid, and I would love to run Road Atlanta, but sadly, I won't get to until FIS. So. All
right, well, I'll do the standing start. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, shout out to anyone to say hi to while you got the microphone. Take as long as you need.
Well, definitely a big shout out to Sunset Arctic Games, Team Race First. For you guys for putting on a fantastic broadcast every week. Definitely to my whole family, I hope they're still watching, probably not, but if anybody is watching, thank you. And to all my sponsors, I don't know if anybody of them want to mention, but they're much appreciated and their support is valued. So thank you guys and everybody here who puts on this league. It's been a great thing for the past forever, it feels like, and I'm just really appreciative of it.
Well, there you have it. Your winner tonight, Gavin Sanders. We will, fortunately, won't see you in the next couple of weeks, but maybe he'll make a strong statement to close the season out with a string of 2 or 3 in a row to maybe tell everyone what could have been. But, hey, he's taking care of business in the real world, people. Let the man do his thing. But it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm sure you and I will talk well before then. But we'll see you here in a couple weeks whenever you return back to the RIL.
Most definitely. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Take care. Wow, and there we go. Good race here at Pocono. Even if it went 80, I think it would have been a good race at 100. But it came right down almost to the end there. Nate had a little bit of a run coming off a 3, and but just not enough time, not enough room. And Gavin manages to pull out another win here at Pocono. Your home track, final thoughts about here, and then we'll start looking forward to Road Atlanta.
Well, final thoughts. Obviously, we had a bit of a rough start, but afterwards, definitely we had close racing throughout the field and for the duration of the race, which is always exciting to see here. And man, oh man, when the racing is good at Pocono, there's little else like it.
That's true. That is really true, and especially a track that was built for IndyCars. And even though we don't see him here race very often, we'd like to see him definitely come back and do that again.
And I'll add just one last thing. Even though Pocono might not be in the schedule, the area still runs deep in IndyCar. Obviously, the Andretti family, this is their adopted home in the area. Roger Penske, he was a college graduate, spent most of his adult life in the area.
Sage Karam's from the area, isn't he?
Yeah, Sage Karam's from the area.
Yeah.
I'd say the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania still cares deeply about IndyCar, even if IndyCar isn't at Pocono.
Well, rest assured, we like Pocono here on the service. I know RIL likes Pocono on the schedule. I think they have it about every year, or every season. So I'm sure we will be back. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I think let's get on out of here and send everyone back so they can enjoy the rest of their Wednesday nights. So that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from Pocono is Gavin Sanders, Nate Seifert, and Caleb Bency. Join Race First again in 2 weeks, as it'll be coming to you from Road Atlanta for round 9 of the Revolution Indy League's Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. That's Wednesday night, the start time of roughly around 7:45 Eastern time, right here on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Now, as you know, and I talk about it all the time, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support Race First with the weekly grind and leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video, just like this. Boom. Just that easy. And if you're new and you've never been here before, make sure you click subscribe, and while at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more of RaceVerse, other iRacing programming, including the 4D Racewear, a Monday night Indy Fix Top Split, the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series on Tuesdays, Stock Carnival de Brazil on Thursdays, and the IndyCar iRacing Series on NTT IndyCar weekends on the Fridays before. But make sure you gotta subscribe. As I get the right subscribe graphic up here. There we go. So keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. Race First, we know what Indy means. Pocono 200 race sponsorship paid for by Bitcoin Simracing. Bitcoin Simracing is an iRacing team, proudly supports Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electric cash system. You know it, everyone knows it, right? Follow the team on Twitter at BTCSimracing.com. That's twice I've almost done that tonight. At BTC Simracing today. That's Twitter at BTC Simracing. You can do it right now. I know, while you're at it, let me just go ahead and bring our Twitter stuff up here. Boom, there it is. Race First, me, Ryan Eric King, at us. Revolution Indy League's IndyCar Series naming rights are paid for by Schaeffer Oil. Racing's in their blood. It's what they love. At Schaeffer, their racing products help racing teams spend less resources on replacing parts and changing fluids and more time out on the track. Check out SchaefferOil.com, where you can search for the nearest retailer today, or click on their link in the broadcast description below. For business inquiries and learn more about Race First and what we do, visit racefirst.com or follow us on Twitter. There's all of our Twitter stuff, as I mentioned. And so that's it for Ryan Eric King, everyone at Race First. I'm Gary Gotzo saying all thanks for watching, and to all our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again. Catch us again in 2 weeks at Road Atlanta for the next race of the Revolution Indy League Schaeffer IndyCar Series. Good night.